Hi, welcome to Sally Bonnie Fibre and Art. So we're going to do the first stage of the flowers in this workshop. So in the short video, you will have seen how I use these barbecue sticks and these old diffuser sticks to create some curls. So hopefully you've done that, and if you haven't, then just head on over to that video, have a watch of it, do your preparation, and then come back. So you can see from this assortment that I've done a variety of loose curls and some very tight curls. And these are great, not just for this flower picture, but they're also great if you want to do like really funky sheep. I love playing around with the creativity of felting. So a lot of the things that I create, I like to think on them as like characters and, giving them a little bit of personality. So please do experiment. I think when you're a beginner in felting, it's great to take on that whimsical character rather than, so if you're doing a rabbit or a hare or a mouse, do something whimsical, because you can create something quite quickly and not get hung up too much on the detail. All that can come in time. So do create some of these. So once you've got a good selection of these, you're ready to begin. I'm going to focus on um, just a really easy technique of creating some little flowers for your summer design. I'm going to use two needles today. My very trusty 38 regular needle, and this one is a 42 regular. And the reason that I'm using a fine needle today is that I very luckily got some of this really lovely merino with sari silk through it, and I've got several of the colours, and these are so perfect for creating flowers with. And I found over a period of time of actually making these and trying different techniques with flowers. Now, obviously, if you want to go all the way and do really detailed flowers, then that's fine. But I find that when you're a beginner, there is something there about, I think you're learning time, the patience, because I know when I started, I always wanted to kind of, have the finished article. Um, but I think using this technique, you'll find that you can create things, and I think it's really important to bring your own creativity into that. So different shapes and things. So you can create something very abstract rather than thinking, I have to get right to that very fine detail. So I hope I'm making sense there. I get a lot of questions about my mats and like what mats I use. And I've tried lots of different mats over the years. And these wool mats, I've had these for quite some time now. But I have a hard and a soft mat, so I tend to put them together. And I always use pre-fell. I used pre-fell when I had a foam mat. And I find that it saves your mat. It's a lot cheaper to replace pre-felt than it is my mats. There's absolutely nothing wrong with my wool mats other than over time they do attract wool. You can get a bit carried away sometimes. Even though I've been doing it a while, and I say to everyone, poke, don't stab. Sometimes you just get carried away and you find something impaled on the mat. So this is what I use. But absolutely, the foam mats are fine. I think that you need to protect them, have something over the top, they will last. And one of the things I often say as well is just turn it over. Lots of people just use one side and they get divots in and things. So just keep turning it over. Another tip I have is like the old flannelette kind of fabric. I have an old pillowcase, so sometimes I pop that in there. But there are lots of different fabrics you can use as part of that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a really simple with these little wool curls that I've made. This is a little flower that I've made. It's quite dark, so you probably won't get to see the detail, but I'll do a lighter one. So I tend to look at, so like here, and I'm going to use my fine needle. So here it's got like a bit of a bunchy bit, so I'm gonna bring that together. Please do watch your fingers. I'm just going to bring it together because that actually makes quite a nice center. Okay, and then literally I'm going to put my finger there in the middle and just pick up and poke, pick up and poke. And without very little effort, I'm beginning to get a shape. So we can turn it round. Remember, move your wool around and we can poke. Turn it around again and poke. And then just have a look and see, well, am I happy with that? Look at the shape of it. But already you can see, and actually it's a bit easier for you to see than this dark one here. You can see this petal-like shape. So because we've already prepared these into a curl, I'm literally just using that curl to my advantage. And if you want these areas a bit flatter, you can do that. I'm going to turn it, and I think just one more there, and I think I'll be quite happy. So I'm going to bring that across. In. You can see there, I'm not having to go really hard at doing these. I find it quite therapeutic, really. And see this tail? I'm going to just very gently poke that into the middle. You can, if you just watch, I'll put my finger to hold that. See how I'm just winding that very gently around the needle. You can use the needle to do that, to get those little edges. Again, watch your fingers, ladies. There we go. Now, it's not the finished article, but that absolutely is a flower. It's a flower shape. And when she is amongst lots of other flowers, it's such a lovely effect for not a lot of work. Now, one of the things you have to learn with felting is be happy when it's done. Don't keep fiddling. Don't keep fiddling with it. Now, if I wanted that to be more closed, so like maybe like a little bud, if I just poke in the middle, just to flatten that up a bit, and I just fold that over and just poke underneath, turn it over again and poke underneath. It's starting to close up now, and I can just poke the middle. And if I want to bring these up a bit further, I can do that on its side. And see how I'm holding that and just poke underneath. Now, what's lovely with these is you could have some, see there now, it's like a little bud. And that's a lovely texture, you know. If any of you are into like multimedia art, and you know you want to add bits of fabric, and obviously you can't felt those, but I know there are some ladies that follow me that are great at sewing and needlecraft, embroidery. You know, just having a few of these in between is lovely. Now, if I wanted to give that a green center, as I have lots of green here. As I say, here's one I made earlier. I'm just going to take a little bit of that off. Now, this is carded wool, so it's much better with my regular 38 needle. So I'm just gonna, I don't think I want that too flat. I quite like the fact that that's a bit fluffer. Yeah, I'm not sure whether you can see that just because the way the light's falling today, but there's a little bit of green in there. So I guess now it's up to you in terms of the shapes that you want to make. You can, you know, like a foxglove. I always like imagine the foxglove quite, you know, quite together, like little balls that are together. Ooh, just change my needle. So you could like just bring these together every now and again to create that. I mean, I'm going to do a demonstration on the felt, but I thought it might be nice if you start by actually just making some of the flowers. But can you see there, all I'm doing is just moving the needle up and poking. And again, if you wanted to put a contrast colour in the middle there, you could do. So I can carry on. Again, remember to pick it up. And don't worry too much because you're going to be felting these onto some pre-felt. You know, you could kind of do one that goes up, like a little baby one here. It's a bit thinner. You could do something like this, do it a little bit flatter. And you know, like with lavender, how you have like a stem. I think I've got some that's a bit thinner. So you could have a stem on that, intermingle some of the green in with it and bring that down. And then the other thing that you can do with these, I'll show with the yellow because I think that does show up. You can just do like a row of tiny, just like tiny heads of flowers. If you did some green that was underneath, you know, you could have this like at the bottom of your picture, so this kind of like resembles the grassy bits. You can also do some really fine there's some fine green ones. So these I actually did on little cocktail sticks, so exactly the same process as the barbecue stick, but on cocktail sticks. They're a lot smaller, so you could do like little grasses coming up and then add in. But I'll show you more of those kind of effects when we actually do that on the pre-felt. I think for now, have fun, create some little flowers, create some buds, and create some open flowers. And just keep them, put them to one side, and you know, like I say, do different shapes. You can do some really small, tiny. So see this one. It's just, I think this is just the end of on the barbecue stick. So if I just literally wind that around like a little ball, needle. And I'm just going to do that in the centre. Remember to lift it. Look at that, with hardly any. That's just like just a small bud really of a flower, and you can start putting them near to each other and see the effect of that. So I'll leave you having a play with that. No flower's a rubbish flower. Some opening, some closing, little buds, bigger flowers. You can do a bigger still. This is why it's good to have a few of the same if I wanted to go around and make that bigger. You're just simply winding and adding, just adding it in to what you have. You see already how that's getting bigger. Okay, so have fun, and I'll see you in the next workshop where we're going to start putting some flowers together and actually constructing your picture.